A massive thank you to Free Ranger, Mr. Johnny, Raha, Flychild, Jurgen for subscribing to the channel. If you're not already featured in these clips, make sure you subscribe down below. Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here back with round 19 of Season 2 of the F1 22 My Team Career Mode. Yesterday we returned here for the US Grand Prix at the Circuit of the Americas. 4 races to go of Season 2 of this career mode, and to be honest for us, there isn't a lot still to play for at this stage of the game, but there is a fantastic title fight brewing between two of the big names so far in this campaign. Of course, if you missed out on the last video that went live from Suzuka, Japan, would highly recommend going back and checking out. Apologies that we only had the one video out yesterday, had a couple of issues with recordings, but fingers crossed, yeah, we should have another F1 Manager video going out later this evening as well there. But yeah, at the moment though, we're still just sort of plugging away, trying to get the car towards the top of the midfield. You can see we have had more and more upgrades currently in the works there, and once these all go on, we should be even closer to Red Bull and McLaren there, and of course Mercedes and Ferrari have just got a little bit more. But yeah, desperately need to try and get more facility upgrades, so trying to earn as much cash as we can at the moment. Championship-wise though, Bottas leads the way, 4 points clear of George Russell there. Hamilton, Charles Leclerc, maybe just Lando Norris has still got an outside chance at the World Championship, but it is really, yeah, now a 2-horse race, unless Bottas and Russell both get quite unlucky. Constructors-wise, we've got more than double the points of Aston Martin behind us, less than half the points of Alpine in front of us. We're pretty much solidified in P6 there and P10 in the Drivers' Championship, so we can enjoy these final 4 races of the year. But of course, we're trying to get big results as we try and build momentum ready for Season 3. You know, if you're new around here though, please do make sure you leave a like and get yourself subscribed. Of course, trying to hit 100,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and if you can help me get one step closer, it would be massively appreciated. But yeah, let's do it then. US Grand Prix here from COTA. Fingers crossed we can have a good weekend. Well, there we are then, back at the US Grand Prix here from Circuit of the Americas. Of course, seems like a long time ago we were racing in Miami, but yeah, we'll wait and see what we can achieve. Whoa! This weekend, I mean, the ERS test was not going well anyway. That's not quite the way I would have wanted to end it, though. Danny Kvyat's style, if you remember him back in the 2015 race here, that was not quite what I had planned. After being a long way off in the ERS test then, seem to really actually be struggling with trying to get the car slowed down into the braking zones at the moment. Let's go into the qualifying simulation run. I'm not convinced this is going to go well, as somehow we're already a 10th down before we get to turn 1 there, and normally it's the straights where you gain the time on these laps. I mean, look at this, we're just losing bags of time as we go up the straight here. We're certainly not going to be able to get any R&D from this session. I can't quite remember off the top of my head whether COTA is normally this difficult to try and get any points at, but this is certainly not filling me with confidence, as the car definitely doesn't feel quite right either. But yeah, just very weird. Maybe we're just over pushing it. I don't quite know what's going on. I think we're just going to have to do a few more laps here to try and get my eye in, but yeah, we may as well just fast forward then into towards qualifying here from COTA, but very strange. Well, I might have been pretty pessimistic so far during free practice, but I thought we'll just jump into the race sim run and see if we can get anything. First lap is in the green. It didn't feel like we were having to push crazy hard. I have altered the setup quite a bit as well. Just a couple of little tweaks here and there. Most tracks normally I can run sort of fairly similar concepts and then of course just change the wings and the tyre pressures slightly, but yeah, perhaps COTA is a bit more out of the box than I'd originally anticipated. Well, rounding the final corner then of our race simulation run then, and actually finally able to get a purple score on the board. Very strange practice session here from COTA, but let's get into qualifying. Imperium experiences are back and better than ever. This time they are offering you the chance to win a weekend of a lifetime at the 2022 season finale in Abu Dhabi. This includes a 4-night accommodation at a 5-star hotel and travel to and from the circuit included every day. All you need to do is click the link down in my description and enter the competition on their website. But hurry, with only 1,500 tickets available and the competition closing on the 14th of September, you definitely don't want to miss out on this. So click the link down in the description below, and a massive thank you to Imperium for sponsoring this video. sun beginning to set then in the Lone Star State of Texas, but let's just see what laps we can do then in qualifying. This is the first weekend in a little while actually on F1 22, but I've genuinely got no idea what sort of pace I should be expecting from the car there as we head back down through turn 1, trying to take a lot of curb on the way in, but really want to avoid that curb on the way out there. But fingers crossed we should still be able to make it through Q1 nice and easily, but I'm not convinced we're going to make it anywhere near Q3. That's my guess though, it could be anywhere. I mean, look at that, out onto the back straight, it's like driving into the sun, literally. I haven't even remembered to put the DRS on, but yeah, Verstappen sets the pace on 34.2. This first lap has been awful, from the bits I can actually see, but we'll see as we head round the final sector. Round in the final couple of corners we go. Hamilton able to go near enough a second quicker than the Dutchman, but out of the final turn up towards the line, we can only set a 34.6 there. Puts us where you'd expect it to be relative to the other lap set, as Bottas now goes 19 thousandths quicker than his old teammate. Right, well, less than a minute left on the clock then as we head out for our final run in Q1. We are currently now in the drop zone, and often we do see times improve late on in a session. Teo Porcher, I think, was on about a 34.0, so about half a second away from my teammate, which honestly doesn't feel like an insurmountable gap there. It's already at turn 1, almost a tenth up already there, as we were just a little bit eager on the throttle down through the S's. So difficult, of course, with the new red cars. Really is all about trying to just keep it nice and tidy through here, rather than trying to hang on like you could on F1 2021. There is all just a bit of understeer as we try and get the car and the power down there. Big wobble off the exit of the first sector, and you can see now we are basically even as we head down in towards the hairpin. Apparently there's an apex through there, but you wouldn't guess it with the line I just had, and so far this lap is unfolding in a very similar fashion to the same way the first one did. We should gain a bit of time down the back straight, of course actually activating DRS when we're meant to, but we're going to need a worldie of a Sector 3 if we want to see ourselves into Q2 then. Let's just ride on board then through these final few corners of the lap. Again, just trying to push the limits, push the envelope, see if we can find much more time here as through the final couple of turns we go. Back up into the green, but it is nowhere nearby enough at the moment. We're going to have to really nail the final few corners of this lap here. It's down in towards the penultimate turn. Flick it in, fourth gear through there, just to make sure you get the nose rotating, and we are finding a bit more. So we head up towards the final corner, out of the final turn, up towards the line. What is the time going to be? 15th! We just, in Sector 3, clutched that up. Well, that lap was, yeah, really just made in Sector 3 there, but Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc fastest at the end of Q1. Any major surprises out there? Not really by the looks of it. Sure, Yuki Tsunoda probably a little bit gutted, and of course Mick Schumacher in his Haas car. But yeah, we're into Q2 then, nice and tidy. We're only a few tenths away from the lap times of the three Frenchmen there that are around the cut-off point. But yeah, we're going to need a worldie here as we get into Q2. But we could easily find ourselves sort of 11th or 12th if we get the right lap in. Right, about to start then our first lap here of Q2. Let's just wait and see what sort of time we can get on the board there. Wait for everyone else to do their first runs. I think a few more cars are just finishing their pit-in laps. But yeah, we definitely still got enough time to do 2 runs here. I think if we get down into the 33s, I'd be incredibly happy. The 34 flat would probably be a fairly decent representative here, based on how rough free practice was as well, of course. It was hard to blend the throttle through the first part of the S's. Again, like I said, you know, you've just got to keep it tidy on F1 22. The cars, you can't quite chuck the cars around like you could on F1 2021. It was very good fun. Some of the laps we were able to do back on that game just felt like you were absolutely on rails, but much better end to Sector 1 than we got on any of our previous outings. Let's come on, ride the throttle nicely on the exit there. This lap's been a lot tidier than any that we were able to manage in Q1, but of course that Sector 3 was pretty mega. Riding up in towards the final couple of turns then of my first lap here in Q2. Again, nice and tidy through the penultimate corner. One more turn to go then of this first lap. What is the time going to be on the board? There we go, 39.987. We do just nick into those 133s, but we're still only down in P15. Got to try and get closer to Teo Porcher, who's 2 tenths up the road. Right, well anyway, jumping in then, final Q2 lap. Let's sort of see if we can find any more pacers again through Sector 1, or we momentarily blipped into the green, but we are still pretty much trading with what felt like a pretty competitive lap time there in Q2. Trying to just go a little bit slower as that curb is lethal through the final part of the S's, but we are still pretty much even as we head back down the other side. There were a couple of small mistakes later on in the lap there as we were really trying to attack the curbs as well. Fourth gear on corner exit as we head up the back straightaway now. Half tenth up in the green is what we love to see, but we're going to need a couple more. We want to get a bit closer to the lap time set by Teo Porcher. I think everyone else has finished their laps, so we try and drag the car the apex down at the end of the back straight, and now the time is slowly coming back towards us here. I don't think, even if we nail this final sector, we probably won't see ourselves into Q3, but if we can beat out Porcher, that's normally a pretty good marker there. We've got a little bit of scribbling around on the throttle. Just a couple more corners to go, though, of this lap, and we are still finding little bits of time here and there. Swing the car through the penultimate corner, up towards the start-finish line, though. Let's wait and see what we can do. Nice and tidy on the throttle at the final turn there, and that is... Oh, P11! We'll take it! I never expected us to start that high up. Splat bang in the middle of the field. There we go then, qualifying done and dusted for us here at COTA, and Lando Norris fastest again there at the end of Q2. Will he get down into the 32s by the end of qualifying? Bottas very, very lucky there. We only didn't out-qualify him by 18 thousandths of a second, so that could have been a big, big upset before we get into the Grand Prix. But Alpine looked right on the money. Ferrari and Red Bull, of course, always seem to be right there as well. But P11 and 13 for us on the grid. Let's get into it then. US Grand Prix time. This channel is proudly sponsored by Bybit, the official crypto partner of Red Bull's Formula 1 team. I've been using their platform for my personal crypto savings over the last few months, and when they got in touch to support the channel, I was super, super excited. Currently, they're offering you guys a special new promo for the first 100 of you to deposit $10 or more onto the platform. You'll get another $10 free. Also, 5 lucky winners will get their initial deposit doubled up to $1,000. That means if you deposited $1,000 onto the platform using my codes below, you could be within a chance to get another $1,000 completely free. We've seen the landscape around crypto drastically change over the last couple of years, and I genuinely believe it holds an important place in our future. However, please be careful as always when trading, as you are liable to lose money. But if you're interested and you're 18 or older, click the link down below to get started and see why Red Bull and myself, as well as thousands of others, trust Bybit as their crypto.
Welcome once again then to the United States Grand Prix here in the magnificent city of Austin. It was here in 2018 that Kimi Räikkönen delighted the world by taking the top step of the podium for the first time in 114 races. There's always a record to be broken, so what I wonder is in store for us here today. We have 10 turns to the left and 10 turns to the right here at the fantastic Circuit of the Americas. Overtaking opportunities into turn 1 and turn 12 at this anti-clockwise track. It's 3.6 miles long, and we should see average lap speeds of around 126 miles per hour. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, edging out Lando Norris, who'll start from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Verstappen, Daniel Ricciardo, Mr. Monaco, Bottas, they've taken a grid penalty, Gasly, Teo Porcher, and George Russell, Albon, Mick Schumacher, Carlos Sainz, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty, and Latifi, Drugovich, they've taken a grid penalty, Ocon, Lance Stroll, and Robert Schwartzman, Joe, Tsunoda, Hamilton, and Kevin Magnussen fills the last spot on the grid. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. And joining me again for the race today, Natalie Pinkham. Why don't we discuss McLaren? What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within the team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do. And that has definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
Right, well here we are then on the grid, ready for the US Grand Prix, round 19 of the season here, and yeah, just 4 points in it between Hamilton's current teammate and his previous one. Lewis starting right on the back row of the grid though. I think he's now got to accept that unless he has a mega race here at COTA, that is his season and championship hopes done and dusted there. But Charles Leclerc on pole once again. Could we see another Ferrari win late on in the campaign as they look to try and build momentum ready for season 3? But medium hard even the strategy that the team are recommending today. And yeah, starting P6, we've hopefully got a good chance to finally get back in the points there. We've got all the big dogs just in front of us. We've got the Ferraris, we've got the Red Bulls, and we've got the McLaren and Lando Norris. We've got Bottas alongside me. So despite having grid penalties, Bottas has only actually lost the places to one car here at the end of qualifying. But yeah, let's wait and see what we're in store for this weekend. Could we potentially rustle some feathers after what I thought was going to be a tough and trialling day? Well, it has been a very, very weird season so far on F122, but Teo Porcher starting up in P9 as well. Maybe we can return to getting a few more points for both cars this weekend. Of course, yeah, we've been quite unlucky over the last couple of races, and Teo Porcher, bless him, has had some grid penalties and then just not been able to fight his way through the field. But round in the final corner then, got to try and get some heat into the tyres as we head up towards the start-finish line. Nice that we're not starting right towards the back of the field here from COTA. Like I said, I really didn't know what to expect heading into this weekend. Well, let's just wait and see then. Where can we line the car up on the grid? No! I just blipped the throttle. I knew as soon as I did that, I just blipped the throttle. And now we're going to be starting a little bit further back on the grid there. Perhaps got greedy off the start. But let's get into it then. US Grand Prix just waiting on, I'm pretty certain, Kevin Magnussen to round out the field. And then we are just waiting on those 5 red lights. Lights out and away we go. And I mean, is it worth me saying it was not a great start there as George Russell, Valtteri Bottas and Pierre Gasly trying to go for it? What is that from George Russell down in turn 1? Has that potentially just cost him a huge part of his front wing and maybe a huge chance at the World Championship there as we're going side by side with Teo Porcher in towards the S's for the first time. Luckily our teammate kind of backs out in the end there, but we're both getting a little bit out of shape as George Russell has definitely got issues in that Mercedes. Pierre Gasly, Bottas as well, they're all trying to squabble around and will somehow get back up straight then into P7 of the Grand Prix there. Bottas is going backwards, maybe he's picked up front wing damage as well. Have we got both big championship threats potentially with issues before this race has even really got started there, as George Russell has definitely lost half his front wing there. I saw him go right into Ricciardo at the start as we've got yellow flags out. Someone's got issues. No, it's just Constantino and up as we went down into the hairpin there. Looks like Hamilton though has made no progress at all off the start of this race. As George Russell still got a lot of straight line speed in that Merc, but surely we're going to see him peel into the pit lane at the end of that one. Looks like the top 5 have all stayed exactly where they started those. Oh, you can just see George Russell there getting a little bit out of shape through the final couple of corners. That lack of front wing certainly not doing him any favours as we want to try and lose as little time as we can behind the Mercedes. Of course, yes, he does peel into the pits at the end of lap 1 there as Charles Leclerc does still lead the way off the start there. Looks like everyone in the top 5, I'm pretty certain. Maybe Perez got the jump on Verstappen. But yeah, everyone knows Verstappen was in P4 on the grid, wasn't he? So yeah, no one inside the top 5 then moving places. And I mean, with Bottas down in 8th and Charles Leclerc up in the lead, I think he's, what, 46 points off the championship lead heading into this weekend. Charles Leclerc could really still, you know I keep saying it at the moment, but could we see the most unlikely title defence ever in Formula 1? Charles Leclerc and Ferrari have been nowhere all season long, but Charles Leclerc has been mighty consistent, and that could still bring him towards the fight come the end of this campaign there. Lando Norris, of course, Bottas' teammate, will want a big result here as well. But yeah, at the moment, Charles Leclerc could be on for his 2nd win in a row, as we are just all over the show. Gasly now might be able to get a run on the up the back straight. We'll give him the inside. Let's see what Pierre can do. Of course, no DRS just yet in this race. We are having to run quite high wings to give ourselves a chance through the S's, as Gasly will go down the inside. Can we try and do the old switcheroo on the exit? Try and get on the throttle. Gasly absolutely saying no to that one, apparently. And I get a warning. He swiped me. Right, well, DRS now enabled then in this Grand Prix, as we are really just watching those top 5 cars break away here, as Gasly and I maybe just tripping over each other a little bit. But let's see if we can get a run then on Pierre back down the straight. Should be a good test of our top end speed here, as you can see, all in the wheel tracks of the AlphaTauri, but nowhere near close enough to really try and go for a sensible move. Could have tried to send it on Pierre, but there's no real point this early on in the race. To be honest, we're actually just trying to focus and settle down into a rhythm. We're still just struggling a little bit with wheel spin, as all over the AlphaTauri's diffuser. Well, a little bit closer to Pierre Gasly this time round as we head down through the hairpins. Still need 4th gear before you can try and avoid the wheel spin off the corner, but luckily for us, Bottas isn't really hounding me early on in this race, and this time around we might be able to get a run on Pierre Gasly. We'll bait one way, go the other on Pierre, see if we can force a bit of a mistake out of him. As no, a little bit of, well, we can try and bump and run, I suppose, but don't really want to risk losing the front wing here. It's all over the back of the AlphaTauri, so I could send it. Oh, I almost accidentally did send it on Pierre Gasly, but again, you know, we've got no real need to. As Pourchaire's just sent it on Valtteri Bottas behind us then. Maybe taking inspiration from the move I almost tried, but Teo Pourchaire side by side with World Championship leader Valtteri Bottas, and has he pulled off the move? He's still side by side with him. I think Bottas now has just recovered as I get a nice lock up through the final corner, and that's just going to push me a little bit away from the car in front once more, but go on, Teo. Well, on to lap 7 then, just sat behind Pierre Gasly still at the moment, but starting to feel the pressure once more from Valtteri Bottas behind. Starting to wonder whether him letting Teo Pourchaire go for a bit of a move has actually ended up working out nicely for Bottas. For the first time today he's been able to break free of the DRS there. Pierre Gasly though, again, we just don't quite have enough down the back straightaway there, and again he's going to trip himself over down in towards the final sector. Might be worth trying to bring the wing down slightly when we get into the pit stops here, but it is nice to have the grip through the first sector as Valtteri Bottas again looking for it. Again, we're just going to try and defend from the fin. Oh, come on, this time round all over the back of Pierre Gasly's gearbox, but again just a little bit too much wheel spin as we try and get on the throttle there. I think we're still going to be a lot closer this time than we have been before so far in this race, and yes, we absolutely are, as Pierre Gasly, he tries to move around again a little bit in the braking zone. This time around we don't go into the back of him ever so slightly. I so wanted to send it there, might actually go for it down in towards the next corner. I don't think Pierre's really costing me too much time here, as here we go. Okay, I felt like that was a fairly sort of clean and predicted move, but Gasly still turned in on me. But we are now over to P6 then of the race. I think robust is what we'll describe that one, but it didn't feel like a particularly big send or anything on Pierre. Let me know down in the comments below your thoughts on that one, as luckily he is still ahead of Valtteri Bottas behind, and luckily he didn't get any damage from it. Let's see if we can just break out of the DRS zone now. As you can see, Ricciardo and Verstappen are still pulling away an entire second a lap. As Bottas now immediately down at turn 1, he's going to try to look past Pierre as well, and I think Gasly has just let the McLaren man by, so it will be a question of when, not if, Bottas now moves past me. There we go then, first time today we haven't actually lost any time to Verstappen and Ricciardo. I don't know if they just battled slightly on that last lap, or Gasly was costing me a lot more time than I'd originally anticipated. Bottas though is starting to close in. Oh, we got yellow flags out down in Sector 2. Someone's going slowly. Don't say it's Lewis Hamilton. I think it might be Lewis Hamilton who's seeing himself out of yet another Grand Prix there. 2 DNFs in a row for poor old Lewis. And if ever there was any slim hope at an 8th world title still from 40 points back with 4 races to go, that gap's now going to be even more with just 3 races left of the World Championship. Hamilton has had no luck this season, and I think that is surely the final nail in the coffin for Lewis Hamilton. What I think is worrying me more than poor old Lewis Hamilton and his Mercedes engines that no longer work is actually the fact that Bottas isn't taking that much time out of me. He's now finally into the DRS zone, but we're pulling away nicely from Pierre Gasly still this afternoon, so definitely the AlphaTauri was holding me back, but yeah, we're just going to come up towards Lewis Hamilton's stricken Mercedes car in Sector 3, and maybe they were just trying to give him an engine with more poke to try and see him through these final couple of races, but there is the Merc off on the left-hand side of the circuit, and poor Lewis Hamilton, that is another season where the 8th World Championship is just going to have to wait that little bit longer. Well, I think it might be this time round then that Valtteri Bottas gets a run on us. High wings and chronic understeer down at the hairpin. I haven't seen chronic understeer like that in a little while on F122, but not really too sure it's worth our battle either. To be honest, this weekend, I don't think we're going to be able to hang on for half a race ahead of Valtteri there, as he's going to have a look up the inside. I mean, we'll try it. Round the outside we'll go. Certainly not going to just hand it to him there. And okay, Bottas clearly not getting a shimmy on off the corner, so he will stay in P6 for now. But of course, we're going to peel into the pit lane at the end of this lap. Maybe the McLaren will follow suit. No, he won't, as his teammate Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc are both in. We should see one of the Red Bulls in as well. So we head out through the final sector. These medium tyres has not been particularly brilliant for us in this stint, but I'm not convinced the hards are going to be much better there. It's really attacking the final couple of corners, maybe a little bit too much, but I'm sure now Bottas will get the run on me there, as a little bit loose and lively as we head into the pit lane there. Should be out comfortably ahead though of Pierre Gasly, as Sergio Perez now into the lead of the US Grand Prix. Haven't said that all too much in this season. Obviously led a few laps at Zandvoort, but I think that is it, as 2.3 was meant to be 2.3. Couldn't quite get the car back in gear, and we will re-emerge then just outside of the top 10 in P11. There we go, Théo Pourchaire into the box at the end of lap 14. Half a race on those medium tyres is not bad going, as obviously as the fuel burns off, everything like that. You expect these hards to be pretty comfortable to the end, but like I said, I'm expecting obviously Bottas to re-emerge ahead of me in this race, and I think, you know, if we can try and walk away with P7, I would be quite a happy man there, as there is Valtteri Bottas, of course, much quicker McLaren car than our vehicle still, and Bottas, yeah, of course, the overcut, we've said it enough times on F122, still very much OP at this stage of the game there, especially against the AI, but Bottas, yeah, will re-emerge just over a second at the road, so we've not really got any chance at the DRS at him. But Théo Pourchaire now up into 8th place. This is really looking like quite a strong race for us, after, like I said, all the worries in qualifying, but we've got 14 laps to go then here from Kota. This could be a fairly quiet second half of the afternoon, although I say all this, Bottas, of course, on his cold tyres, will now dip under the 1 second mark, so we should be able to get some DRS then on the fin as we head out of the hairpin. Are we going to be able to challenge him? Surely that McLaren is fast enough down the straight anyway. But 6 cents back, we're not really going to stand much chance here. We do gain, we gain. It isn't going to be close enough, but I mean, if we can hang inside the DRS of Bottas for the rest of the afternoon, I would take it. Maybe he can drag us a bit closer to Ricciardo and the Red Bulls. Charles Leclerc just clearly feeling he's under a bit of pressure from Lando Norris as we head in towards the final 11 laps here from Kota, but still hanging on close to Valtteri Bottas there. Clearly this car now, with all the upgrades, can hang on to the front runners when we have got it all dialed in, but yeah, maybe, just maybe, we could try and go for a late race charge on Bottas. I don't think it's worth trying to do it just yet, but final 4 laps, it might be worth just trying to push it and see what we can do. Well, getting towards then 3/4 race distance here, and we are still, I mean, we are pushing like crazy just to hang with Bottas, but we are still applying the pressure to the McLaren, so I guess now really the switch is from seeing if we've got the pace to hang with him to now trying to play a bit more strategically. What I'm going to try and do is make Bottas defend a bit more, use a bit more battery into a lot of the braking zones, so maybe then as we get in towards the final couple of laps he might start to run out a charge, and then he might be a bit more easy pickings. We know still top end speed is not great on this car. There's one McLaren trying to press for the race lead, the other trying to defend from a midfielder. Lando Norris, if he wants any chance of this World Championship, could really do with a good race out here as well. But Charles Leclerc, if he wins this and Bottas comes 6th, that immediately brings the gap down to less than 30 points if I'm not mistaken. And that is certainly attainable for Charles Leclerc, because he is on a run of form like we haven't seen from Ferrari all year. It was Mercedes that dominated the early races. McLaren then dominated up towards the summer break there, and there was a bit of chopping and changing. And then since the summer break, Ferrari have been right there on the money. And Charles Leclerc is trying desperately to get his second world title. And so far, it's starting to look like it's gone from a pipe dream to potential reality. Well, 5 laps to go then. I apologise, there hasn't been as much commentary in the second half of this race, but I have just been pushing like crazy to try and stick with Valtteri Bottas there, as these hard tyres they certainly haven't fallen off or anything like that, but they are just becoming a little bit less predictable here as we try and stick close to the McLaren. I think now we've got to start trying to push the envelope and go in for moves. Oh, come on. Out of the final corner, 3 laps to go here, and you can see Bottas. We're both getting a lot more wheel spin, but Bottas is using it to get further away, and I'm using it to apparently drop further back behind the McLaren, so really am starting to get in towards make or break time in this race. Let's see if we can get a run down the back straight. Oh, this might be the closest we've been to Bottas all race long. As we head down into the hairpin, try and get on the gearbox of that McLaren. Oh, a little bit of wheel spin on the exit. He's going to push us a bit further away as we head up the back straightaway. Of course, you kind of head up the peaks and troughs, so it's not very flat. This back straight is gaining on Valtteri Bottas. Let's try and send it on the fin. No, apparently not there. Bottas having absolutely none of that, and often the sort of mentality in Formula 1 of recent years has been, you may as well send it. It's Bottas. Not on F1 22 there. It was always a little bit of an aggressive move from me. I'm certainly not going to try and pin the entire blame on Valtteri there, but that might just have cost us here. We had to go for it, but was it the right time? Do you know what? We're not going to give up on this one just yet. Lap 27, we have stayed within inside the DRS range of Valtteri Bottas. Maybe he thought this was all over. Maybe he thought I'd just given up on it, but no. We are not going to give up till the bitter end there. We've got such little battery though left in the car. It is going to have to be an all or nothing style attempt on the final lap here. Can we try and just ride close through the final sector of this penultimate lap there? We're getting more and more understeer out of the tyres. We feel like we're trying to lean less and less on the car there. These tyres have got next to nothing left. We have basically done half our race of qualifying style laps on this set. As you can see, we actually went purple through sector 1 just due to the nature of not having any dirty air from the McLaren. But about to start the final lap then of the US Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc, he looks comfortable out in front here and looks set to take yet another race victory late on in the year. We've set a new personal best for the Grand Prix as we're going to try and get even closer to Bottas as we head up the hill in towards turn 1. Their big lock-up though at the first corner as we run very, very high and wide at the top of the hill. It'll make trying to put the power down a little bit easier on the exit, but that might just be enough. Valtteri Bottas, of course, has got a much, much quicker McLaren car than the one currently that we're using, but we have absolutely given it everything today, and unfortunately it might amount to nothing here as we head down through the end of the S's there, trying to attack the curbs off the corner. And I think Bottas, yeah, now he just gets out of the 1 second zone. Maybe the fin just saved a little bit more for the final laps of this Grand Prix there. But Charles Leclerc, he's going to be around in the Turkey S section for the final time, and the gap at the top of the table is going to come down once more there. Valtteri Bottas, though, can't be too disappointed because he is going to take even more points and extend his gap over George Russell and Lewis Hamilton in the championship. Hamilton, I think it's safe to say, is well and truly out of it unless we get a miracle in the final 3 Grand Prix of the year. Charles Leclerc, though, is definitely within a shot to try and defend his World Championship that none of us expected. Even at the summer break, we all thought Charles Leclerc was never going to even be close there. Looks like we are going to see Verstappen come through for P3 ahead of Sergio Perez and Daniel Ricciardo there, and it's been a valiant effort from us. We are going to return to the points this weekend, which we should certainly be happy about after a couple of rough races. But Cota, oh, it's been a weird weekend, and I'm just gutted we couldn't hang on to Bottas at the end of the race.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home. They take the checkered flag then here in Austin in what has been another fabulous Grand Prix. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I think it was clear what the main contributing factor out of the track was: speed. It sounds like an awfully reductive statement, but fast cars win races, and we saw that today with our winner.
Here come our winners now, a thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again. let's have a quick look at how the drivers' standings have changed. More points for Valtteri Bottas, further solidifying his lead at the top of the table. Let's focus on the driver of the day. Natalie Pinkham, come on, who do you pick?
Carlos Sainz certainly wasn't someone to scoff about. His ability to follow race strategies throughout with pinpoint precision has to be commended.
Let's move on to the constructors. McLaren supplant the previous leaders and take control of the championship. Meanwhile, good work from Aston Martin this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action. I can't wait to see what's next.
Well, there we are then, the end of the US Grand Prix, and big momentum swings across the board there. Charles Leclerc with another race victory. Lando Norris, though, actually snuck away fastest lap there, so Charles Leclerc doesn't take out as many points as he would have wanted, and I think with the battle going the way it is, every point counts late on in the championship here. Like we said, Verstappen P3, Perez, Ricciardo, Bottas and myself with Sainz, Pourchaire. Teo Pourchaire getting more points on the board. It was a fantastic drive from our teammate there to outscore and outfinish Pierre Gasly, and look at that, Alex Albon. Less than a second away from points this weekend. I'm sure that's going to hurt for the Williams man, but nice to see they have got good pace there. Once again, just Lewis Hamilton, who doesn't see the checkered flag, and I think, yeah, he must be well and truly gutted with this weekend's results there. Championship-wise, though, like we said, Bottas does extend the lead at the top now, 12 points ahead of George Russell, but now Charles Leclerc just 29 points back here, and if he keeps winning, that gap could still come down quite a lot by the end of the year. Hamilton has been shuffled down into 4th place there. Verstappen just opens up the gap slightly ahead of his teammate Sergio Perez there, as Carlos Sainz still trying to hang on to those Red Bull cars. Further down the order, Teo Pourchaire, of course, with that result now trumps Felipe Drugovich in the championship. And I mean, like I said, by the end of the year, he could still get up towards, you know, sort of Pierre Gasly in terms of points here if he keeps the consistency up late on in the game. Constructors-wise, though, McLaren, for the first time in a long time in Formula 1, take the lead of the Constructors' Championship there. 4 points now the gap ahead of Mercedes, but it is all still to play for in the final few races of the year. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please do make sure you leave a like and get yourself subscribed, and we will return very soon. Ready in Mexico, it's always a track that delivers carnage, chaos and unpredictability. You guys do not want to miss that. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.